Okay, welcome back, everyone. It is Friday, week 1, day 5 of Web Fundamentals. You guys have made it past your first week. We've made it past our CSS section. Now we are going to be transitioning into JavaScript and how JavaScript will help us build dynamic web pages. So this morning we'll go over the algorithm. Then at 10 a.m. lecture, there is a we're going to go over the basics of JavaScript that we already had gone over the first week of programming basics. So this lecture won't be too exciting. Probably won't have that many burning questions. Everything will probably already be understood. And then you see here right after 10 a.m. there is 11 a.m. open lab code review. And I have one at 3 and one at 4 and one at 5. So today is a good day to do your code review. There's lots of options open. You guys should all have access to edit this spreadsheet. So if you go to code review 1, this tab section at the bottom of the page, if you go to code review 1, type in your name in the name section if you want to do your code review at 11, 3, 4, 5 today, or you can move it to Monday at 3:30 or 4, Tuesday 3 or 4. And you put in your name and the assignment you'd like to present in the group, and then we'll do a group code review. So we'll look and see if there's anything that needs to be praised or critiqued and how you could improve as a developer. And it's a good chance to show your code in front of people like you would in the work environment. Okay, if I see your name in an isolated place and no one else signs up in your group, I'll move you to a group that people are in so that you're not just presenting to me alone. You get the practice of showing your code in front of people. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you can't sign up for these groups if you're the only one there, but if no one else signs up, I'm going to have to move some names around. Okay, so definitely have to do one of these sections, group 1, group 2, group 3. You have to be in one of these groups before the test on Wednesday. You have to do one code review. If you don't do a code review, we'll notice and then we'll tell you, hey, you haven't done something. You haven't done this code review. You won't be able to take the test. So you have to do that first. Okay. Plenty of opportunities today. Let's pick a core assignment, get it out of the way. Profile page is one of the best ones to display because it helps, it exposes any chinks in our armor, any weaknesses that we need some critique on. Okay, so profile page is a good one. All right, so now let's go ahead and go into our morning algorithm. So it's not going to be what you would see
quick,
here.
Josh.
Oh, go ahead.
You were supposed to get an email for that, correct? My computer was restarting for the
Yeah,
code
you
review.
should have access. I've tested it with other students. I've added everyone on the email
Uh,
list that I have, so you should have access now.
because I just tried and it said contact the
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, you know what? It might have been a Google problem. I might have fixed it. Never mind.
okay, cool.
Sorry.
All right. So let's go to the algorithm. It's not going to be found on the platform. This is one original to the platform that I gave you guys week 1, day 5's reverse arrays already. So we don't need to do that. We are going to go over this one I have in front of me. All right. So we're going to recreate the built-in slice method. There is an inbuilt JavaScript slice method. We're going to build a function that does what this one does. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, given an array, a start index, and an end index. So that's 3 parameters in our function. 3 parameters, an array, a start index, and an end index. Return a new array that only has the 3 elements from the start index to the end index. So what does that mean? That means, look at this array here. Const R1, A, B, C, D, E. If I say start index, make it equal 0, whereas index 0 starts at A, and end index 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so when I say give me everything between 0 index and 5 index, it'll give me the whole array because that's everything between 0 and 5. All right, but what if it's way out of bounds here? What if the index provided is out of bounds? What should you make your function do? How can you test for this? Right, you have to have an if statement. If, here's the key word, if the provided index is out of bounds. Most of the time when you're dealing with word problems and they're making you do some kind of logic, the way to do the logic is somewhere already provided in the problem itself. If the provided index is out of bounds, then say index is out of bounds. Else do the function. The function would be to return that part that you want to slice out of the array, right? So R2, if we have A, B, C, D, E, if I say start at 0 and end at index 1, it's going to give me A. Okay, does that make sense? So given the starting and end point, give me that index that exists within those bounds. So the expected should be A. And this will go on for the rest of them. There's our different examples of what our slice would look like. Okay, so that's part one. There's two parts today. The second one is concat. First one is slice. The second one is concat. We want to replicate JavaScript's concat, which combines two arrays into one new array. So we want to combine two arrays into one new array. All right, so we have const RA1. So we have A and B, two strings within our array. Then const RB1, 1, 2, 3. So our function should return AB 1, 2, 3. All right, we're given two arrays. We want to see both arrays within the same array concatenated once your function has received those two parameters. Any questions about this one? Okay, so we have two functions today. We'll break out into groups now. If we have no questions, I'll post the code in the Discord. Okay, so let's get started.
I'm sorry, what day is this?
This is day 5. No, this is going to be posted in the Discord. This is not in the platform. All right, welcome back, everyone. How did we feel about that algo?
Not great.
Not great.
Dude, I was lost till you came to help you out, and then it made some sense afterwards. We got it down.
I didn't understand it at all.
Okay, kind of kicked our butt, huh?
But
All
No,
right.
like for real. Hey, Josh, till you came in, me and Yancy were just lost. Like, oh, okay, I didn't know where to start.
Okay, well, let me try to give some clarity to it. Again, this algo I gave you guys because you guys had already completed the algo for this morning yesterday. So if it's challenging you, then it's working. And, you guys are ahead on understanding anyway, so don't feel too bad if you're not like blowing through this material, right? So let's go ahead. I'm not sharing probably the right part of my screen, but give me a second while I set up my screen. Okay, so the first one we said was, let's read the instructions. We get the start index. That one we're going to get included in our return. The end index exclusive, so that's not going to get included in our return. So if we say 0 to 5, excluding 5, the end index, we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 in our return, and that's what we get as an expected. So we should see that in our return. But if our input is 0, 1, excluding the end index, 0 to 1, excluding this one, we just return here. All right, and then we also said if it's negative 100 to 100, return all the values that are relevant between those spaces, negative 100 and 100. If I said my start index was negative 100, what are the values that I would read at negative 100 up until this A? What would I receive?
Undefined.
Undefined, right? Because they're outside of the array. They're not part of the array, so they're undefined. What about everything after E from index 5 to 100? What am I going to get there?
Undefined.
Undefined, because that's also outside of the array. It's somewhere in outer space outside to the right of the array. Okay, so now let's see how this function can be written. This function can be written multiple ways. Oh, did I not? Hold on, I got the code somewhere. Sure, I have the code somewhere. Hold on, I gotta dig it out. Is there another Visual Studio? Hold on a second.
Is it an algo.js?
Is it in script?
Script.
Or algo? Oh yeah, right. Okay. Where is it? Slice? Not there. Oh, it's still empty here. Hold on a second. I gotta find where I wrote the answer. That's concat. All right, if I deleted it by accident, then we'll just write it together. Oh, here it is, slice. Okay, never mind. False alarm. Okay, so we're given the array, the start index, and the end index. And I built this function this way. I worked with some groups here and it looks slightly different, but this is one way to do it. If I worked with you and it looks different, we'll have you present. But let's look at this solution. I said, I'm going to adjust the start index. I'm going to say adjusted start index equals my start index and adjusted end index equals my end index. And then I have an empty array. If my start index is less than 0, if somehow my start index is less than 0, then I adjust it to be my variable adjusted start index equals 0. And if my end index is greater than array.length, then I say my adjusted end index is r.length, the very end. And so I say, for let I equals adjusted start index, and I, while it's less than the adjusted end index, increase I. And then as I iterate through this array of adjusted and adjusted end, adjusted start and adjusted end, then I push. And then I return what I pushed to at the very end. So if I run this code, given this array A, B, C, D, I said A, B, C, D, E, index 0 to 3. Let's test this. Let's make sure it worked with an easy input. So I'll run my code and I get it, A, B, C. All right, let me clear my console. Now let's do negative 100. And 100. Okay. If I highlight my code and press the play button, it will run just what I highlighted. And here, even though my starting index is negative 100 and my end is 100, it'll only give me what's in the array because it checked here. Is my start index less than 0? Then make it my adjusted to be 0. If it's somehow we're given a value that's greater than r.length, then make adjusted end to be r.length. Okay, so that's one way to go about writing this function. Can anyone else show me a different way that they would have solved it?
So we didn't really get we didn't get the input we wanted, but I mean the output we wanted, but we instead of before the for loop, we actually decided to do it inside the for loop with the if statements.
Okay.
And so what we did was we actually combined the two if statements together and use the and properties.
Okay.
And instead of using the new variables, we just said, or we just assigned the start ID and the end ID with so if we assigned start ID to 0, and then we And for the if statement for the end ID, we just assign the end ID to the array.length.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Okay. Does anyone have something similar to what was being described there in their code for an alternate solution for this first one slice? Did anyone get this one that they'd like to share? Different than what I just showed. I'll help you T-diagram. It won't be too much pressure. Somebody.
We had a slightly different from theirs. We had the same thing as them where the if statement was in the for loop, but
Mhm.
if the whatever, it's not like what I wrote down. If the I goes greater than the item's length, we return the result. So
Okay.
since we've already been pushing to the, in your case, sliced array,
Mhm.
once we reach the beyond the array length, it returns the what we have in the sliced array.
Okay. Did anyone solve this function to check if the value is not equal to undefined, then push from there? I think Sylvia's group. Did you do that? Right? We did that with you.
Yeah.
Can you share your screen, or whoever wrote the code on your group, share your screen for that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. Okay. All right. And what do we have here? We have a function slice, and we have an empty array on line 40. And on line 41, we have a for loop that starts at the start index, ends at the end index. And then in this for loop, we say, if items at I, if the value of the item that we're reading through is not undefined, then push that item. All right. What if we run this code? Can you run this code for me and see how it works? Here, we just get the values A, B, C, D, E, just like I had in my function that was written slightly differently. The difference here now is instead of readjusting the start and end index to be within the array in case the values are out of bounds. In this case, all we're doing now is saying we're going to read the whole thing. We're only going to push now, though, if it's not equal to undefined. So if it's a valid value, if it's not equal to undefined, then we'll push. Does anyone have any questions about this one? Two different approaches to the same problem.
Yeah, that's like exactly how I did it. Well, besides the undefined part.
Okay.
So out of curiosity, is there anything that undefined one wouldn't cover?
Not in this instance, as long as there's regular values, anything that's undefined is not in the array.
I think it wouldn't cover if you had an undefined cell in the array.
Within the array? No, if we put undefined even within the middle of the array where there's valid, if it's not going to push. Oh, I see what you're saying.
If there was an undefined value inside the array, it would consider that to be undefined.
Yes.
And if that was part of the solution you wanted to be pushed,
Yes.
it would remove it.
So yes, you're right. If therefore is if by chance, if there's an undefined between, for example, B and C, we want to see that undefined between B and C. So how can we adjust this code to make it even better? What about a double and percent sign? Where can we put that? We can put that in the if statement in line 42. If items at I is not equal to undefined, right? So this is our if statement. If it's not equal to undefined, and if what are we checking also? What's another condition? We're also checking if we're within the start within the 0, right? So we want to say and double ampersand. That's a multiplication, so it's the symbol above 7.
Oh,
So space. Let's add some space for readability. I think this should work now. Space. We want to say if start index.
so if statement.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Not an if statement. We want to say start index and delete the if. Is greater than -1 and another ampersand sign, and end index is less than array.length, no, or items.length in your case. I think it should be items.length +1. And then close the parentheses. Okay. You have a parentheses there. Okay. Yep. Now let's test to see if it works, and then we'll put an undefined after. So let's highlight
Remove
this
line 44.
line
I'm
4.
sorry.
Delete line 44.
Line 44, delete it. Delete that too.
Okay.
Okay. Highlight now 39 to 50. I just want to see that it still works properly. Okay.
It's not gonna be true because start index and index are set values. You should be using I.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So we want to say if I, so delete that start index. And I there, yeah. Okay. I think this should work now. So let's try it.
It worked.
Okay, now let's stick an undefined between B and C. No quotation.
Just comma.
Okay.
Okay.
No, to get rid of undefined. Right? You should just leave it blank, right?
No, let's leave it undefined like that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the same as undefined. All right, so now let's run it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So we have to make it we have to put some kind of parentheses around somewhere in our if statement. We're going over time here to make an extra on the solution. So if we don't figure it out in another minute or so, we'll just end it here because we already have a solution. So we want to see if items at I is not equal to undefined, but only if we're within the bounds, right? So we want to
What
say,
if you put the I greater than -1 and I less than items length +1 in an else if underneath the if?
well, it's still gonna return an undefined. Oh, it's still not gonna return an undefined if it's within our array. So in this edge case, what I think I'll do is I'll play with it a little bit and post it in Discord, and you guys can get the answer to this specific solution later on in the day. So I will do a little adjustment and post the answer there. Oh, and I'll also have it on Discord. But we're already 30 minutes over the hour, so we're doing a little too much. We're going extra on algos right now. So does anyone have any questions about the first solution I posted, how that worked? This one here needs a little bit of adjustment, but we're gonna get this fixed up. And I know we didn't do the concat one because I saw most groups didn't get that far anyway. So no need to do that. Oh yeah, so Mark is saying you will need to call the OR operator and the operator would catch all situations. Yes, I know the OR operator has to work, but I'm not exactly, I can't on the fly just pop it in there and make this a lesson out of it. So let me play with it a little bit. If you have the solution, feel free to post it. But we're gonna go ahead and end this session unless we have any questions. Okay, if not, good job today, guys. I like to see the hard work. And we'll make a small 5-minute break before the next lecture. I'll stop the recording now.